Fallout 4 VR is the long-anticipated VR port of Fallout 4. It's available for the Vive for about $60 US. This review will focus specifically on how VR is implemented in this title in its current state as of December 2017. We'll start with the UI. Health, AP and ammo are displayed alongside your weapon hand, and the compass map is displayed at the base of the screen. All are easily accessible when you need them, and easy to ignore when you don't. The Pip-Boy can be displayed in 3 different ways: projected, where it behaves like a menu; in front, which is functionally the same but with the Pip-Boy skin; and wrist, where the Pip-Boy enlarges when brought into view, which I personally preferred, and once accustomed to the controls found it very smooth to use. On to dialogue, which works much the same as it does in flat Fallout. The only real difference is that you're free to move around.
Definitely. For 600 years old, it's in pretty good shape.
As per normal, inventory is managed through the Pip-Boy, looting via a floating menu, and crafting, trading and hacking interactions via full screen menus. All work well. Lockpicking is accomplished by moving the pick with the touchpad and pressing the trigger to rotate. Nothing imaginative, but it works fine. As for the well-marketed base building features, they work as well as advertised. The interface is intuitive and overall much more fluid than in flat Fallout in my opinion. Moving on to weapons, which for me are somewhat of a letdown, the biggest being scopes, which are currently broken but promised in a future update. I could excuse this in an early access title, but not in a full price AAA game. I furthermore think that they've been blatantly deceptive in their failure to disclose this. To make matters worse, the iron sights aren't much better. Many are far too wispy to make out against the background of the game, and some even have no front sight, making them utterly useless for VR. As for two-handing two-handed weapons, you can't, which makes weapons like the minigun feel ridiculous to use. Melee on the other hand is implemented quite well, and is accomplished by swinging your controller. Throwables are also implemented well, activated via grip button and physically thrown. As with flat Fallout, weapons and items can be assigned to a favourite system, which works very well, though I personally would have loved a holster system. Let's talk VATS, which works as normal, with the exception of being able to teleport around. As someone who's never liked VATS, I can attest that it feels as cheap and immersion breaking in VR as it does on a flat screen. On to power armor, which works as it does in flat Fallout, but with a small increase to player size when in use to give an extra sense of scale. Unfortunately, I personally found the HUD quite claustrophobic in VR and quickly grew tired of it obscuring the game's looting menus. On to locomotion, of which the game offers both teleportation as well as smooth motion. No complaints with either. There is also the option to rotate the player via the touchpad, which I'd love to see more games offer. My only gripe is that you can only rotate in increments, no option for smooth. As far as comfort goes, the game offers a customizable vignette as well as speed settings. As for sneaking mode, it can be activated either by physically crouching, which I personally loved, or via button press. Now for graphics, which at launch had a number of issues that have mostly been fixed, but the game does still sport a certain blurriness. There are workarounds, such as turning off temporal anti-aliasing, but a more official solution is sorely needed. As for performance, I've had the occasional stuttering on my 1070, though not enough to affect my experience. That said, if the forums are anything to go by, your mileage may vary. As for crashes, I've suffered 3 in my 20 hours of playtime, about what you'd expect from a Bethesda title. Bug-wise, I've noticed a few left over from flat Fallout, but nothing more than mildly inconvenient. We come at last to the verdict. If you're wanting Fallout 4 in VR, you've got it. If you're expecting it to look, play and feel like a lovingly crafted made for VR title, you're in for a letdown. Personally, this is already my most played and most enjoyed VR title, and I expect I am not alone. The lack of scopes is a despicable omission, and the graphics are in desperate need of tweaking, but overall, this is a hugely welcome addition to the platform.